more zoomed in vantage point. And I believe this is from Skyfox overhead. So remember, you can see there some of these people being detained already, and still. But in the meantime, you can get a sense of just the massive numbers of law enforcement, LAPD there on scene. But this is right downtown, and you see a lot of these white vans, many of these detained protesters, they'll be at the back of them momentarily. You see there some of these protesters with hands behind their backs in handcuffs, the kind of plastic wrist as they're bound there. So in the meantime, wanted to show you that. Now, a lot of people are fixating on the question of the Marines. The Marines that deployed to the LA area on orders from President Trump. Remember, they have not yet been called to respond to the city's immigration protests, and they're only there to protect federal officials and property. So I'm going to reiterate this point because I think it's important. The majority of law enforcement that I have seen covering this now, this is the second night I've been on the air, are local and state law enforcement, in addition to the California National Guard that was federalized by President Trump at his urging, bypassing Governor Gavin Newsom. That's a fight playing out right now in the courts. The fact that President Trump at the federal level bypassed a state governor. Normally and historically, how this all goes is a state governor will request the president to federalize their respective state's National Guard. That did not happen in this case. And that is why, historically speaking, a lot of people are fixating on that very fact. So in the meantime, that's overhead. Let's go down on the ground. Take a look at this. More people being arrested there. Presumably, a lot of these individuals who did storm the 101. And you can see there, law enforcement in position to prevent that from happening again. It's almost 4:30 here on a Tuesday afternoon. Rush hour will soon get into full swing if it isn't already. But traffic does seem to be going, at least on the other side. All right, let's move on from that scene. Yet another scene to show you. Take a look at this. Conglomeration of these law enforcement officials gathered together there. This is a different vantage point. You also see a lot of those kind of plastic ties there they have at the ready to arrest people who don't comply with their dispersal orders. Oh, and look, they are even taking some of these signs that people have brought to the protest, and they're discarding them. You also see some American flags there. You see a lot of water bottles. It is June. It is Los Angeles. It's hot. Covering this story, they're down on the ground. Obviously, some of this group of demonstrators did not decide to impede traffic on the 101. They stayed where they have been, frankly, for the remainder of the afternoon. So you can see more of these federal vehicles moving through. You see that Bearcat as well. So it looks like some of these law enforcement officials, they have kind of stationed under the overpass there on the side of the freeway. Traffic getting back up and running. You see so many of them as well, kind of on that divider boulevard there on the 101. And then on this side street there as well, police line to prevent them from taking over the 101 yet again here. So if you're just joining us, we're approaching the bottom of the hour. Let's go back, if we can, to Friday afternoon. Reports of ICE raids in and around Los Angeles, so much so many of these activists and demonstrators and protesters, they wanted to stymie and thwart those very operations. And that is how this all precipitated. And now we're on night 5 of these actions here. So in the meantime, I don't know how long we're going to have these pictures in the air, but you can see traffic is moving somewhat slowly, but it's back. And you see that small group of protesters there, law enforcement trying to keep them at bay. We also see now some movement, some running. Let's take this here. Viewer discretion is advised. You see there some of the signs. Families belong together. So there is a lot of movement right now, and I'm not entirely sure whether or not law enforcement is the direct result of that movement. Okay, so this looks to be another area here where these protesters are now trying to block traffic again. I'm not entirely sure where this is. So it's near the freeway? Okay. So they're very, very close, dangerously close to traffic. But you can see the dividing line there and law enforcement pushing them back. It's getting very testy. It's getting very tense. Actually, forgot about this. Let's try to listen on the ground. We call that natural sound here. Let's listen. Okay, so you can see there even some members of the media, of the press, but also some of these demonstrators. You see a lot of kind of press-credentialed photographers, but law enforcement looks like they're making some progress, pushing them back there. So this is right in downtown Los Angeles. I know we've been kind of ping-ponging back and forth between our camera vantage points, so it's somewhat difficult to kind of keep them all straight and where they are downtown, but they are concentrated and located in downtown Los Angeles. About the same time last night, kind of a competing protest was taking place not too far away in Santa Ana. But the kind of locus of the protests has stayed and centered there in downtown. So in the meantime, no word yet on whether or not we'll hear from more Los Angeles officials, including LAPD Chief McDonnell or Mayor Karen Bass. We heard from them earlier this morning. We also heard from Mayor Bass saying she was going to kind of attend one of these vigils in the area in honor of some of these illegal immigrants, their families, and in her words, the fear that they have been put under due to these ICE raids. She has called on ICE to stop the raids. You've heard from her over the last couple of days saying if ICE had not done these raids, none of this would be transpiring. She says on Thursday night, everything was peaceful. And then once the federal ICE raids started on Friday afternoon, this is unfolded. So, okay, so let's take it in the air yet again here. So yet another vantage point. Like I said, the kind of key hallmark and signature of today has been some of these smaller groups that have branched off from the larger group. And now we have kind of multiple small groups that law enforcement has to contend with now. So remember, viewer discretion is advised. So you see they're talking with some of these protesters. You've heard a lot of shouts and chants. We're going to go back to our ground shot in just a moment. Okay, you also see some of these arrests there. Not entirely sure that, I don't want to speculate, but that does look like a member of the media due to the size and scope of her camera, I don't want to speculate, but usually credentialed photojournalists have cameras like that. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves if we don't know. All right, so arrests being made there, as you can see. More arrests being made on the ground. Take a look at this. All right, that might be our friend and colleague, Matthew Seedorf from Fox 11. So in the meantime, you see there, looks like they have had quite some time getting this individual into custody. He's been kind of front and center throughout the last couple of minutes. We've been showing you these shots. Take a look at this. More arrests overhead. So it seems to be the key feature now. Take a look at this shot, too. Arrests being made. They are face first up against the facade of this building. You see a lot of these law enforcement officials kind of hog-tying them behind their hands to take them into custody. That is presumably what these kind of school buses are for that have come onto the scene in downtown Los Angeles. So in the meantime, this is going to be the majority of our coverage for the next at least hour and a half. We're going to be bringing in at the bottom of the hour, next hour, some insight and analysis about what we're seeing, what we're watching. We also have been relying on Fox 11 in Los Angeles to help us make sense of this. Their reporters are stationed down on the ground as well. But I think it's safe to pause briefly here, catch our breath yet again, and take another quick commercial break at the bottom of this hour. We'll see you in just a moment.